Hello, welcome to my craft room. Would you like to see how I'm getting on with the socks? I thought you might. So these are my DK socks. I'm roughly following the Crazy Sock Lady, her pattern for them. And I've got loads of yarn in here and can't find the actual socks. Here they are. Okay, so last time I had cast on instead of, it was recommended 3.25 and I cast on 3.5 and they came up much too big. So I thought they were going to be okay, but then I realised no, much too big. So I thought, right, I need to start again. So I've started them again. This time, instead of going for the 3.25, I have now gone for the 3. Mainly because I haven't got a 3.25 and I can't wait around to get some. So yes, they're looking good. It's all going well. They look the right size. I've measured them against other socks. I've tried them on. I had them on 2 different needles and I tried them on and all that went well. So there was a little bit of confusion last week. I don't think I explained myself properly about the pop of colour at the top. Some people thought I was talking about the cast on. It wasn't the cast on, it's the actual change in the colour on the cuff. So you see there, I've got less this time. I put more on. Oops, tighten a bit. I had more on last time, but I decided that looked, I prefer how it looks thinner rather than thicker. I thought that made it look more chunky, whereas that made it look a bit more delicate. So I've just gone for the cast on edge as a pop of colour. And what the Crazy Sock Lady does in her video is she tells you how to add a different colour, change colour on the rib without getting pearl bumps. So you see inside there's the pearl bumps there. But then on the outside it's got a nice edge on that, and that's what she shows in the video. So yes, I went for just the cast on and then change colour on that. So then I did my rib, 2x2 rib, and then joined up one of each of the strands of the 4 ply for the main sock. This was 2 greys held double, then one of each. Then I went to 2 strands of the pink for the heel, slip stitch heel, heel turn, and now I've just picked up all the stitches and I'm doing my decreases down the leg. So yes, it's coming on really well. What I will do is once I've got a bit further, then I'll put them on 2 needles again so I can try it on and just to check that it is the right size. But I know the leg's right, so as long as my foot can do the turn to get them in that part, that's enough room, then it should be fine. But it seems big enough. It seems not too big, but big enough. So yes, I think I'm on to a winner now. So that is my DK socks. The yarn I'm using is Drops Nord. The other project I've been working on is my Whitmoor sweater. And so, I was partway down the sleeve last time I saw it, so I have finished the sleeve. It's long on purpose, that's in the instructions on the pattern by Ami Lowden. And so what you're supposed to do is have, so it bunches up because it's a bigger sleeve. So it puffs up at the armhole there. So that is done. So I've got another sleeve to do. And then I'm carrying on because I've got plenty of yarn, still got a row of it behind me there that Foxy Vixen's sitting on. I'm doing a longer length because I'm liking my sweaters long at the moment with jeans, and that's what I seem to live in jeans at the moment. So yeah, I'm doing this rib a lot longer than instructed. Haven't decided yet how long I'm going to have it, but I think it is going to be quite long. How the length that, if you see my other sweaters, that sort of length is what I'm comfortable in, and yeah, it just works for me. So this is knit out of Drops Lima. I haven't got one with me at the moment, which is a wool alpaca blend. It's a DK weight and I'm really liking it. I think I'll definitely, depending on how it washes, I'll definitely use this one again. I've never used it before, but I really like the feel of it when I'm knitting, and I like the stitch definition. The stitches look nice in it as well. And with the actual lace work, that shows up nicely. Even though there's some alpaca there, so you might just see, if I put it against my blue there, you'll see that it has got a little bit of fuzz halo on it, but it doesn't distract from the actual lace work there. So that's how I am. So I've nearly finished that body, and then I'll be going down those sleeves. They are big, but they're easy to do. They're just straight, so you just keep knitting, watching TV. It's my TV knitting. So just watching TV, knitting away. So those are the main two projects that I'm working on at the moment, because I want those to be finished. I am starting to get the itch of casting something else on, so I may cast on my next sweater and be naughty, just so I can start getting my head round how to do it. The other thing that I've been doing, my cross stitch. How have you been getting on with your Make It Happen March? I made a video last week saying about I want to do a Make It Happen March and just incorporate some new habits into my daily life, that things that have drifted that I'm not doing, and one of those was my cross stitch. And I used to cross stitch all the time and I just wasn't picking it up. I just lost that itchy bug, but I wanted to do a wedding sampler for my stepdaughter. So that was the motivation to start doing it. So I have been working on this every morning when I have my morning coffee. Doesn't matter if I just put in a couple of stitches, as long as I actually touch it. And I have it in my frame, all set up, ready to go. So there's no, but I've got to set it up. It's all just sit your bum down in the chair, Tina. You got your coffee, just have a go at it. And I've been enjoying it. You might see there's threads everywhere because I've been making this chart up myself. It's actually the reading that I'm going to do at the wedding that Kirsten actually chose for me. So I thought I would incorporate that into the design. It's very simplistic. That's her style. So I've gone with what I think she would choose rather than what I would choose. I'd have flowers and all sorts, swirly bits all over the place, but that's not her style. So I did go with this border, the book. I got the border out of this book. And it's also got threads all over the place. So I got the border out of this book and also the alphabets as well to give me a bit of a guide. But I just, like I said, I wanted to keep it very simple in what I was doing. So at the moment I'm changing. I had a little bit more gap one side than the other, so I'm just changing that top piece there to be in line. That's the longest line there, and I'll actually put what it is up on screen, what the reading is, and you'll see that instead of centering it, what I'm going to do is have it starting on the right hand side in line rather than centering it, and it comes, because it's all his hello, then it's her laugh. So I think it just follows on. And apart from that, it make it far easier for me. So the threads I've used, they're all DMC. So I've just got a plain dark one. And then there's a variegated. You might see this top line and the bottom line is variegated. And so just to bring a bit more interest, and this fabric is 28 count even weave, and it's got a sparkle. I don't know if the camera picked that up. So yes, I've been enjoying it a bit more now that I've got my head around it and I'm getting on with it. I did reach that point where I started feeling overwhelmed and thinking, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I want to do this. But that border made all the difference, because I think because I love Art Deco and that's got an Art Deco element to it, once I start putting that in, it's something I liked more, where trying to design it for somebody else's taste, I just wasn't loving it. I wasn't feeling it. But yeah, I'm happy with it now. It's still going to come out quite big. I was trying to keep it small because I didn't want it to be a big piece to give her that she feels she's got to put on the wall. I want it to be something that she should just put on a shelf somewhere, but I knew she'd appreciate it anyway. So yeah, that is the cross stitch. So it has made me want to carry on with that and bring out one of my other ones once I've finished this, but I need to finish this first because we're going on holiday in April, and then there's literally a few days when we get back is going to be the wedding. So this needs to be finished, framed and everything in April, early April, if not before. So the other habit that I was trying to get into was my reading. So I wanted to read in the morning, when I have my cup of tea in the morning, and also at night, because once I'm up, that's it, I'm doing my knitting or whatever, and I don't sit there and just read because I think, oh, I could have been knitting that sock or something. So the best time is when I'm just having my first cup of tea in the morning, and then when I'm getting ready to go to sleep at night. So that has been really working for me. Because before I was taking my tablet up to bed, now I don't take it upstairs, I leave it downstairs, so it's not an option. And so that's helping me. So I don't think I've finished this book before. This is The Telephone Box Library by Rachel Lucas, and I really enjoyed that one. It is about a teacher that was burnt out, and so she decided she was going to take some time off work. She found there was this job advertised where all it was is free accommodation in a little village in the Cotswolds, and all she had to do was call in, be a companion basically to the lady who lived next door. She was an elderly lady, and her relatives just wanted someone to pop in, just do a few groceries or anything she needed a hand with on a daily basis. So she thought that'd be fine. It's for 6 months. Go there, she'd have something to do, somewhere to live, and just have a break from the stresses of being a teacher. So it ended up that opposite her cottage was a disused telephone box, and the village wanted to do something with it or get rid of it because it was just looking like an eyesore. So the story is roughly based, there's not loads about the telephone box, it was more about the romance and the people in the village. So, but it was a nice focal point to have the village coming together to have this telephone box as a little free library in the village. So I really enjoyed it, and so I did follow my plan of going on to the second book, because I picked them both up at the same time in a charity shop. So I went on to this second book thinking it was going to carry on with Lucy and Sam's story, and it hasn't. So this is called The Village Green Bookshop, and it's in the same village. It's got the same characters as the other one, but it's not about Lucy's story. This is about a new incomer that's come to the village. So this is about a lady in her 30s. She's got a teenage son. Her marriage isn't going very well, and it's her cousin that runs the shop. The village owns the shop, but she manages the shop, and she got premises like above the shop. So her cousin wanted to take a break. Her mother died, so she said, "Would you come and look after the shop for a year?" And so Hannah decided, yes, she needed a change. She needed something to happen. Her son was older. He was getting into trouble where they were living in Manchester. So she said, yes, I'll do it. She spoke to her husband and he said, yes, that's fine. Let's go. And it's how really she ended up there on her own with her son and what happens in the village. So yes, different story to what I thought it was going to be, but I've been really enjoying it. As I said, it's still got the same characters, so I've been enjoying following their story and seeing a different side to them, and I'm getting through it quite well. So my thoughts have turned to what I'm going to be reading next. And on my bookshelf, I have got all books that are more mystery. I'm usually more of a mystery reader rather than a romance reader. But I've been enjoying the light fluffiness. I don't want anything heavy. My TV viewing has been very much like that as well. I've wanted all the lighter things. And before I did pick up my Ruth Weggs. I've read all of her other books and loved them. I thought if anything gets me reading again, this will. But it didn't, and I picked it up again thinking I'll put that ready to read once I finish this, and I'm thinking, do you know what? I really don't fancy it. I want to enjoy it because I know that when I get into it I will enjoy it, but at the moment it's not speaking to me. So I thought, well, there's nothing that's really making me excited on my bookshelf, so why don't I would go down to the library and just see what tickles my fancy and then see if I can go from there, because I have actually got that worry that I'm going to finish my book and I'm not going to have another one that I'm going to enjoy as much, and I don't want to ruin this run of reading all the time. So I'm pleased I've got that. That means that the reading bug has come back and I'm enjoying it. So I'm going to go down to the library and see what books I can find. So I'm sure I'll be showing you those later in the video. We have snow. For the first time this winter, we have actually got snow. There's not much of it. Yanni from Finished Knitting Stories wouldn't be very impressed at all. But this is our snow. It was really funny. My mum phoned up this morning because I was taking her for a hospital appointment, and it's about 3/4 of an hour drive to get to my mum's. And so she phoned soon before I was going to set off and said, is it going to be okay? Are you going to be all right driving in the snow? The roads are completely clear. We are a bit pathetic. On the radio, everyone's talking about the snow. We have snow in Northamptonshire. It's going to come to nothing. I will not be making a snowman, but I have brought out, I'd put it away, my Christmas snow sweater. So I am dressed for it now. I've got my snowflake sweater on because we have snow. And we're going to have more tomorrow apparently, but it's still not going to do anything, is it? So yes, I thought I would pop back on to show you how far I've got with the socks. I was knitting socks in the car at the hospital waiting for them to come back out. And so before I went out this morning, I wanted to try them on and just check. Because I was doing the decreases and I wanted to see how much they fit, to see if I was going to do all the decreases or whether I should stop before. And I did stop early. I started off with 48 stitches. I cast on 48 and I went down to 54. So when I said I went down, when I picked up the stitches after I did the heel turn, obviously then is that, because you create more stitches, you have to reduce those. So I took that down to 54 so that I had a bit more room, because they were fitting when I tried them on, but I thought I don't need them any smaller than that. So I've left extra stitches for the foot, but they went on fine. my foot fit into it and I went round the bend fine. So yeah, all set to just carry on knitting along now to get to the toe decreases. So yeah, very happy with those. I like with now the heels in, they're definitely looking a bit more pink because I wanted them to be more pink, and obviously I'm going to have a pink toe as well. So yeah, definitely harder on the hands. I sort of actual knitting, and I did have a pain in my thumb there. I don't know if that is because of the weather with arthritis, I suffer from that a little bit, or whether it is that doing it quite a bit. So I think I need to do short little bits through the day rather than having long sessions, which will work better, I think, to give my hand a rest. But yeah, pleased with how I'm getting on with those. So that's progress. On the sweater, I have finished the length. Oops, hit myself in the face in my enthusiasm. So I have cast off. I didn't check the length. I measured it against something else to decide how long I wanted it. So I hope it's okay. I've picked up the other stitches for the sleeve. So I thought we could try it on now and see how it's looking. So I hope it's all right. I should have checked it, shouldn't I, really, before casting off? But it was, what time was it? It was about 8 o'clock. No, but it's getting on for 9 o'clock. We were watching something, Endeavour, on TV. And that's like a 2-hour programme. And I still had about an hour of that programme to go. And I just wanted to just cast off and get onto the sleeve. So I thought, right, I'm not going to try it on. I'm just going to carry on and just cast off. And I think it's going to be long enough. So let's have a try on and see what we think. I just wanted to say before I do a strip that if you're new here, this is the Silver Stag sweater free pattern on the Drops website, and it's done in the recommended Charisma, I think it is, yarn. So yeah, I knit this a few years ago and it is a favourite, and it's a winter sweater, not a Christmas sweater. Right, let me strip. It doesn't fit. Only joking, fits perfectly. So this is how it's looking. So that's the sleeve, all puffiness. It's come to a good length on me. As I said, I don't like them too short. I prefer them to be a bit longer, so when I'm moving around they're not coming up too far. I'm pleased how it fits. It's enough that the lace is spreading out, but it's not really baggy. You've got that bagginess on the sleeve, so it's not all really baggy. Yeah, so just got to carry on with this other sleeve now. I've just put this on a longer needle, but I am using the smaller ones to go round. That's what I prefer, but I just felt I needed to have a little try on just to be sure. So I better keep on knitting, hadn't I? I have decided though, I think that tomorrow I need to, I'm going to say the words kit up. We use that in cross stitch terms, but when you just get everything together. So I want to get my project bag out for the next project, get the pattern, the yarn in there and the needles, so I know I've got everything to start, because this isn't going to take long now. And then I'll be casting on the next one. So yes, in the next little clip we shall be doing that. It is time to prep the next project. So I'm excited, can you tell? I am going to knit next the Trinigan from Andrea Mowry. Don't take any notes of the trousers, that's not my style, I know. But it's like an oversized cardigan. It's got loose sleeves and it's just meant as a layering piece. And I saw it when she was wearing it on her podcast and really loved it. So I thought, yes, I definitely want to knit that. So I need to get it kitted up so that I can be all ready to start. So first of all, I need a bag to put it in. I'm going to need a big bag. And then we're going to go for this one, a nice big bag, because it's going to get very big very quickly. Well, hopefully very quickly. So that is the bag that it's going to be in. And so the yarn I've chosen is the main colour. So for the edging and for in between like the honeycombs, that is the Soulcraft Special Aran, and it's in a midnight dark blue colour. The reason, sorry, keep the camera. The reason I've gone for an acrylic is just because it's going to be big and I want it to be easily washable. But basically I'm thinking wearable blanket. That is my thoughts. And I know this is lovely and soft. So yeah, it's going to be in the Stylecraft Aran for the main part. And then I have got the Stylecraft Amour, which is also 100% acrylic in these different colours. Is it just acrylic or is it something different? Oh, it's 40% wool. So there's 40% wool in this, but it is washable, I hope. Should be Stylecraft. Come on, tell me you're washable, tell me you're washable. Yes, washable. Machine wash, 30 degrees. So those are my yarns. Now this is for a worsted, is that how you say it? Worsted yarn, which is in between DK and an Aran weight. So I've gone for the Aran weight, so I really do need to check my gauge. Not something I like to do, as you might know. So I'm going to need to check my gauge for this. So it's suggesting needles that are 4.5 for the main, and the gauge, it says it's 31 stitches to 32 stitches. So what have we got here? I've got 21 I've got 18 to 24, so there's a big difference. So let me get this right in my head. So I need more rows. This has got less rows, so that is for a 5mm hook. So 4 will give me more stitches, but I might have to go down to a 4.5, sorry. I need to try the 4.5 because that will give me more stitches. So we see how we go. But it is for measured over the pattern repeat knit flat. So it's going to be when it's a pattern of both of them, which may mean that I need to then go up because my colour work might be tighter. Are you with me? So yes, I'm going to have to dig out some needles and do a gauge swatch for that to be sure. So I will work out how much it's going to cost within sort of now and finishing. Maybe when I've finished I'll do a wrap up of how much it cost me, if it works out, and how much it would have cost in the yarn that is actually stated in the pattern. Because I did get a comment when I first said about knitting this, I got a comment to say that the recommended yarn, it worked out as really expensive. Not just really expensive, really expensive. So it'll be interesting to see. Obviously it's not going to be the same as the original because this is mainly acrylic, it's not in the wool, so obviously it's going to be different. But just if the wool is out of your price range and you wanted to go for a more affordable option, seeing how this turns out, it might be a better thing for you, or somewhere in between. So yes, I am going to do a gauge swatch on the 4.5 and I'll see what stitch count I come up with. It sounded like we had loads of snow overnight, but I think it was all just hitting these windows because there's not a lot now. So yes, still not enough for a snowman. I am loving this swatch for the Trinigan. I love these colours. I think it's going to look really good. So yes, what do we think? It's not exactly a neutral, is it? But yeah, I think that all the colours pop really nicely on there. So especially the pinks, I'm loving the pinks. So how did I do with the figures? Not very well. So this pattern, it calls for a 4.5. So I started off with a 4.5 and I'm looking for 21 stitches. I got 19. So I went down to a 4mm and I came up with 20 stitches, so still one off. So I think that's a 4mm at the top. So we've got 4mm there and we've got 4.5 down the bottom, and you see that it is quite loose. I don't know if, because I'm thinking my stitches are tighter when I'm slipping stitches. This is only one colour per row and then you're slipping the stitches. So I'm thinking because colour work and slip stitches can make it smaller, I may be knitting looser than normal. But yeah, because Aran weight yarn on 4mm needles should be quite tight, shouldn't it? I think I'm going to have to go down to a 3.75. So I'm going to do a swatch for that because it's so big that I am worried that if I just do my usual thing and think, oh, I'll be fine. There's a lot of stitches to make up that one stitch repeated, because I think it's about, how many stitches is it? It's about 50 inches it's going to be for my size, because you need between 10 and 15 ease on it, positive ease. So that means 10 to 15 inches bigger than my measurement. So if you times that by all those one stitches, that's a lot of inches possibly. So I am going to do another swatch of 375 because I'm not ready yet to cast this on, so I might as well do that just to check. And it seems crazy, but it's better to do, because I was thinking maybe just do it, try and knit it tighter, but then I thought if I'm not knitting my natural knit, then it's going to change because I'm going to be watching TV or whatever and I'm just going to go into my natural flow. So I need to do it what my natural flow of knitting is to keep an even gauge, don't I? So yeah, I'm going to be doing another swatch for that, but hopefully I will be casting this cardigan on next week. Well, I will be casting it on next week because I haven't finished my Whitmoor, but look how far I am on the sleeve, last sleeve. So that is going to be finished in the next couple of evenings because I'll knit on this in the evening. So that's easily a couple of evenings, isn't it? So then I think what I'll do when I finish this one is just work on my shawl to get that finished for a bit, and then I'll bring in the cardigan. So yes, I'm very happy with how things are going. So yeah, not too far to go on that. Loving it. So that is the Whitmoor cardigan. Also, I have a finish. So I finished my sock. So this is my DK sock. Now, I used this weighed, what did it weigh? This weighed 128. This weighed 58 grams. No, it couldn't have done. Yes, it could have done. I was thinking my normal socks weigh 70, but no. My normal socks, 2 socks weigh 70 grams. This weighs 58 grams, just the one. So 2 socks, I would need 120 grams for my size. Bearing in mind that this is alpaca yarn, and so that can be lighter. So I don't know, I haven't got a label to see what the meterage on this. So yes, very happy with them. I ended up on DPNs at the ends, and I didn't follow the instructions. I didn't follow the instructions for when to do the toes, because I usually do them squarer, because I like to do all of the stitching, the heels and the toes, on the 9-inch circulars, but I found that was just too hard on the hand, so I did go to the DPNs for the end. Somebody put in the comments that it made the leg too long when they followed the instructions for the actual pattern for the Crazy Sock Lady DK socks. I never really intended to use the pattern because I go by what my normal socks are, my 4-ply socks. So I just wanted numbers really for how many to cast on and the heel turn. It fits really nicely. I was right to leave the 58 stitches for the actual foot part. I think because I would like to knit socks again in the DK weight, but what I'll do is use the recommended 3.25, because I think that would be the right for me, as Kay said in the beginning, just cast on. 48 stitches on 3.25 is what I will need for my size sock, so that's what I will do next time, but not for the next one of these. I shall make the second sock the same as I made this one, so they match. So yes, very happy with those, but definitely feel it a lot harder on the hands as well. We're having that DK weight, but I'm thinking that maybe if it's that little bit bigger needle, as in they're not going to be so tight, that might be a bit looser on the hands as well and a bit more comfortable. So yeah, have to wait and see about that. But I'll definitely, I think, do some shorty ones for summer as little slipper socks in the summer in this way. It'll be really good. So that was an interesting thing to do, and I'm glad it worked out. Oh, leftovers that I've got for the second socks, I didn't know how much I would use. I have got 64 grams of the grey left and 60 grams of the pink. So I am fine for doing the next sock, and I'm still going to have plenty of leftovers as well. So, but they will be good for heels and toes, won't they? Any scraps I have, or they can go in my blanket, my granny square blanket. So we shall see what I do with that. But that was a success after all the toing and froing. I thought I'd give you a little update on the cross stitch as well, because that has taken shape now. So this is how far I am. So I've got it all lined up now, and so I'm on easy street. As you see, I'm just doing it straight down here. I'm not doing it centered in the middle, just because I think it works, and it would be harder work for me to try and center it and work it out. So I'm happy with how it's looking. So yeah. So I thought I would tell you what it's going to say. His hello was the end of her endings. Her laugh was their first step down the aisle. His hand would be hers to hold forever. His forever was as simple as her smile. He said she was what was missing. She said instantly she knew. She was a question to be answered, and his answer was, I do. So it's a lovely reading, and it's lovely and quick for someone like me who's got to stand up and do it. So I should be practicing that. That's another good thing with doing the actual cross stitch, that it's actually going to help me to not real memorise it, because I know when I'm nervous I'm going to need help with that, but just so it's more in my mind and how I'm going to read it. So I'm trying to perfect how I'm going to read it and not just zoom through at 100 miles an hour. So yes, that's half of it. So I've just got the other half to do, and then the date at the bottom, and carry on with the border. So I'm just enjoying that now. Now I'm happy with how it's coming along. As I said, it's not strictly to my style. I would have had flowers and things, but I'm glad I've got sort of the nod to Art Deco in the edging there, because that is more my style as well. So yes, that is the cross stitch that I shall be carrying on with. So I should pick up speed now. I'm not going to be going backwards to go forwards. I have nearly finished my book. I've been getting on well with my book. So this is the Village Green bookshop, and I've really been enjoying this. It's by Rachel Lucas. As I mentioned before, I read the first one, the little telephone box, village telephone box library, and this is different characters. I've enjoyed all the characters. As I said, we revisit people from the village anyway. And yeah, it's just a really lovely, cosy read. There's no drama, but it's just a nice, warm hug to read. First thing in the morning, last thing at night. And so I was looking through my bookshelf to see what I was going to read after this, and I've got mainly thrillers and things. So I went down to the library, and I didn't show you what I picked up. I'm sure there's less books in that library though. There didn't seem as many in the like contemporary section. So what did I get? Well, I was looking for things like that, so basic, cosy, chick lit sort of things I thought is hitting the mark at the moment. But first of all, I picked, so the one that fits that, and we're on a theme here, is Jenny Colgan, The Bookshop on the Shore. So this one is set in Scotland, and it's a single mother and her son goes up to Scotland to start a new life, and it's all the usual things I should think that comes from that. So I think I'd really enjoy that. So she gets the opportunity to go to the Highlands to help run a bookshop, and so she decides it would be a good move for them both to do that. So that would be interesting. It's usual from London to the country. Then this one I picked up because I saw so many people on BookTube have recommended this. It is well loved in the BookTube community, generally by people younger than me, so I don't know if it's really going to be my thing. I don't really know a lot about it, but I know there's a lot more intimate relationships than I'm used to with my chick lit books, so we'll see how we get on with that. But it's supposed to be very funny, it's supposed to be quite emotional, so I just thought I'd pick this up and give it a go, something slightly different to what I'm used to. This next one is also one that has been recommended on BookTube as well. This one is about a lady who's 85. She's quite lonely, hasn't got family or friends around. She loves a documentary. She loves to have her ruby red lipstick on. And one day she decides she's going to make a huge change. And so I shall tell you what that huge change is. There may be a slight hint on the cover. But yeah, it's supposed to be an amazing book. So I thought I'd have a go at that. It's not something I would have picked up previously just by the cover, but I think, yeah, from what I've heard, it is a beautiful book, so I thought I'll give that one a go. With this one, I did go back to what I do like, and that is a nice crime, and this is actually a new Sherlock Holmes. It is by Laurie R. King, and it's set in Monte Carlo, the Côte d'Azur in France, 1925, the Jazz Age, Sherlock Holmes. What can I say? So we'll see if I can get into this one. I hope so, because it's the sort of thing originally I would love, and I think it's a series, because it does say It says the glamorous new Mary Russell and Sherlock Holmes mystery. So I think there's probably a few of them. So if I could get into something that's got a few. She has written a lot of books, but how many of them are in this series, we shall find out if I really enjoy it. So those are the ones I am going to start. I don't know which one to go for. I'm quite tempted with the Sherlock Holmes mystery. I would love to get back into my mysteries. I do love a mystery. So, plans for next week is knit the next sock. Always good to have two. And to go on to that shawl from Stephen West, so I can get that finished off the needles and start the new cardigan. So that is what I'm looking forward to next week. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed this video and I hope to see you again next week. Take care. Bye for now.